Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/Am I the Bort Hole? I feel like this week is going to be a very Bort Hole heavy week. I don't know why. I just keep seeing titles that intrigue me, so I save the posts and I have a few of them. Sorry, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it anyway. We'll have a good time, won't we? But yeah, if you want to judge some big old gaping Bort Holes with me again today, then please do stick around and enjoy. So of course we do have a little disclaimer to get through first. Any opinions that I give on these posts are my opinions. They are not fact and do not need to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, that is fabulous. Please do feel free to share it in the comments. Just make sure you're keeping it respectful and not being mean to anyone who doesn't agree with your opinion. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? So this first post was posted by Boston Bateman. Am I the Bort Hole for locking my office after staff kept using it when I wasn't there? I'm a middle school counsellor, and my office is one of the only private spaces I have all day. I meet with my students one-on-one, talk to parents, and keep confidential notes in there. So I keep it organised and calm on purpose. The problem is that other staff started treating it like a break room whenever I was out. At first, it was small staff. I'd come back from lunch or a meeting and a chair would be moved or my candy bowl would be half empty. Now that's the real crime. Keep your paws off me sweets, mate. Then I started finding teachers in there venting because my office was quieter than the lounge, which is always crowded. Every time it was, sorry, we were just in here for a minute. Okay, so if you are the school counsellor, do you not have a lot of very confidential documents in your office? Should that not have been a place that had a lock in the first place? Goodness me. Then it got more inappropriate. My pens and tea started disappearing. Now, as a Brit, that is actual sacrilege and punishable by death. Once I came back and found a teacher eating soup at my desk. Another time I found one of the assistant principals in my chair with the door shut, having a personal phone call. That really bothered me because this isn't just an office. It's a counselling space with confidential student stuff in it. So I sent a polite email asking staff to not use my office when I wasn't there unless we talked about it first, because I needed the space kept private and available for students. That is absolutely fair. A few people apologised, others ignored it, and it kept happening. The last straw was last week when I came in early and found a few paras in my office doing a birthday thing for one of the aides, because the lounge was too crowded. What's a para? Please tell me, I have no idea what that is. There was a sheet cake on my filing cabinet and frosting on the tray where I kept student paperwork. I cleaned it up, documented it, and talked to my principal. After that, maintenance rekeyed my door and now I keep it locked whenever I'm not inside. People are annoyed. One teacher said I'm making the building less collaborative. The assistant principal made a comment about all of us needing to be flexible. My principal hasn't told me to unlock it, but did ask me if there was a less dramatic way to handle it. I would say keeping personal, private student counselling documents private is very important. Now, I'm not sure where this person is from, but the use of the word principal makes me think possibly America. And in that case, I don't know if this word holds as much weight as it does over here. But over here, all you would have to say is, well, it's a safeguarding issue, because of the fact that there is very personal, intimate, private discussions that these children are having about things that will be going on at home, things that are going on at school, things that are going on with their emotions. Soon as you say the word safeguarding issue over here, that's it. Discussion done. Absolutely fine. Keep your office locked. I don't know if it would hold as much weight over there. I don't know if there's another word, I don't know if there's another sort of buzzword you could use over there that has the same kind of weight. But yeah, over here, as soon as you say this is a safeguarding issue, everyone's hackles are up and no one wants to deal with it anymore. Because they know as soon as you present a safeguarding issue and you were to take that to somewhere like Ofsted, they would be on the school's arse faster than you can say, I don't know, arse. Anyway, then they say, maybe there was, but I also feel like I already tried the polite reminder route and people kept acting like my office only counted as private when it wasn't convenient for them. Exactly. Am I the butthole? No. You'd done a few things already. You'd asked them not to. You'd made note of things that were going on in there. And it kept happening. So yeah, no, absolutely not the butthole. If anything, it sounds like the OP is the only one that actually cares about these children's welfare and privacy. And I know that might sound a little bit dramatic, but when you're a teenager, you've got to think it takes an awful lot to open up to someone. When something's not going very well in your life, it takes an awful lot to open up to someone. So if a student walks past and sees other members of staff just rifling through this, what is supposed to be a private and safe space, they're not going to feel like they have a private or safe space to open up anymore. And it could cause students that are really going through something that could even be putting them in harm's way to not open up, whereas they might have felt like they could before. So I think this OP is perfectly justified in what they have done. Anyway, let's have a look what the commenters say, shall we? So C Outlandishness 485 says, not the butthole. You should absolutely be protecting the privacy of the students and that space. Pretty obvious in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. And then the OP replies saying, that's why I asked for the locks to be changed. Though some people at my workplace don't get it and call me selfish now and doing drama over nothing. Yeah, I just think I'd tell them to get stood on, personally. You're looking out for the children's welfare at the end of the day, and that is the most important thing. So, next post, Familiar Shake 701 says, am I the butthole for putting my mum on the spot in front of family and friends and making her reject me in front of them? My mum doesn't like me, maybe doesn't even love me, and prefers my sister to me every single second of every single minute of every single hour of every single day. I really hope that's not true. And that this is just maybe crossed wires or something. I hope that's not true. That has always been so obvious to me, to my sister, and to mine and my sister's friends. My mum ignores it and refuses to talk about it. I have tried to tell her how it makes me feel, but she refuses to talk about it. My sister and I share a dad, but he took off when we were 3 and 5. I remember him not being super involved, but he said he wasn't cut out for dad stuff, and him and mum fought a lot, and that was it. He sort of acknowledged mum not liking me back then too, and so it effed me up to know that he was just leaving me as the least favourite kid. Oh wow, both your parents sound absolutely shite then. This is not good. I don't know if my mum never wanted a son, whether she has issues with guys that she takes out on me, or whether she didn't want a kid when I was born, but I never felt loved or wanted by her. I never get treated anywhere close to how my sister does. She calls my sister her baby, and she says she loves her every day, and she'll always invite my sister to do things with her or come up with stuff for them to do together. And any time I offer to help her with something or go somewhere with her, she rejects me. That is awful. My sister laughs at it, and when she has friends over, they all laugh about how much my mum clearly hates me. My sister's best friend sleeps over all the time, and the two of them together is insufferable. And my mum will hear everything they say and taunt me with it, but the second I lose my temper with them, she's yelling at me and telling me to never speak that way to my sister again. Whenever I have tried to bring it up in front of others, they didn't believe me, and my sister would pretend she hadn't a clue what I was talking about. Then, when it was just the two of us, or the two of us and mum, she'd taunt me for crying to people like a little baby. So I decided I was going to make sure people saw, and the last few times we were around other people, I jumped in every time mum said she had something to do, and I offered to help. Or if my sister said no to doing something with her, I'd say I'd love to do it with her. The most obvious one was a couple of days ago. My mum has friends coming to stay for 20 days, and she wanted my sister to help her do a huge shopping haul for the 20 days. And she promised my sister that she could eat anywhere she wanted afterwards. But my sister didn't want to go shopping for groceries and stuff. I told my mum I'd help her out, and I even offered to go get other stuff that she had mentioned wanting to get. My mum rejected me before I could even finish what I was saying, and she did it in front of everyone. She realised how it looked the second she did it, and then she got awkward, and her family and friends were watching us like, what the fuck? She pretended it wasn't happening, and I asked her other family members to see what it's like, and they were like, okay, yeah. Then my mum had to pull over when we were driving home because she was so animated and yelling so much, and I thought she might even hit me. She didn't. She called me abusive for putting her on the spot like that in front of other people. She called you abusive? After the emotional abuse that she's been dishing out for a long old time? Wow. Pot with the kettle, I do believe. I kind of regret doing it because nobody really seems to care about what it's done to me, and my mum is furious and she told me I owe her the biggest apology ever. Am I the butthole? No, not at all. Your mum sounds like an absolutely shit excuse for a parent. That's disgusting behaviour from her, and she's modelled that kind of personality for her daughter as well now. So now she's doing it too. They're awful, absolutely awful, and she deserves for you to out her. It's disgusting as well that nobody else is doing anything when you have told them before that you feel like this is what's happening. And it's disgusting nobody has looked into this because this is a form of emotional abuse and neglect, I would say, personally. I would say to the OP, reach out to somebody. If they are still under the age of 18, reach out to someone at school, trusted adult. Probably not someone in your mum's family because apparently they're terrible too, but a trusted adult in the way of someone in school, a teacher that you like, maybe even a friend's parent, somebody who can then advocate for you in some way and might know a way to help. I think that would be the best way to get the ball rolling, or even just provide a little emotional support because the OP is clearly not getting that at home. So I think reaching out to somebody else, a trusted adult, if they are still under the age of 18, could be really helpful because even if there's not a lot they can do to physically change the dynamic within the home, they can at least offer some outside support so the OP feels like at least someone has their back. I do feel so awful for this person. Like, that is so sad. Anyway, let's have a look at what the commenters say, shall we? Although I feel like I already know what they're going to say. Illuminatus Prime says, not the butthole. Your mum drove your dad away, and now she's trying to do the same to you. You may want to get out of that situation as soon as you can. Honestly, it makes me wonder if the dad ever actually said that he didn't want to do kid duties and he wasn't interested in that, or is that just what the mum has said? You know? Makes you wonder. And then Ice Seeker says, work hard so you can leave after 2 years. You already tried so many times to connect with her, but she just keeps rejecting your efforts. That's on her. For your sake, it would be better if you start distancing yourself emotionally. Just focus on yourself. Okay then, so next post is Unlikely Custard 8277. Am I the butthole for refusing to change my kid's name despite it sounding like a slur to my mother-in-law? Interesting. This started a few weeks ago, but I'd never used Reddit before and wasn't sure how to do one of these. For context, I'm mixed race, white and Middle Eastern from my mum. My mum had been Hebrew but changed denominations after moving to America and meeting my dad. My husband and his mum is African American. I, 32F, have recently had my first baby. I'd given up on love when I met John, 40M, a year next week. What started as a one-night stand, then following encounters turned into a shotgun wedding, but we weren't upset about this. John hadn't had many girlfriends before, and he claimed that he was happy to settle down. I had much the same feeling. We got married in August, and I met his mother 2 days before our courthouse wedding, yard party. She was honestly one of the most amazing people I'd ever met. I never had a mother of my own, really, and she was everything I'd ever wanted. She planned my baby shower, surprised me with a birthday party, and so much more during the pregnancy. I went into labour a week early in mid-March. She and the rest of his family stayed away and let us update to them on our own time. My beautiful baby girl was born on March 19th at 12:19 a.m. This is where the issues start. The same day, around lunch, we let John's mum and stepdad come visit. We'd had several names picked out, some of which mother-in-law helped me choose. However, I looked into my daughter's eyes and knew her name. Context: my mum's name was Nessa. She had been a wonderful lady I'd never been able to meet. So I chose Nissa instead, said like Nissa. My mother-in-law said nothing at first. She took photos, hugged my husband, was going on about how pretty our daughter was, but never said anything to me. I'd not noticed at the time. I'd been exhausted and out of it, and they'd soon left. My husband said something to his mum about it after they left over text, and my mother-in-law went off about the dirty, slur-like name I chose. What? Nissa is a name I've known a few people have, and said I was disrespectful and racist for not asking her first. What? Yeah, what indeed? I'm so confused. My husband waited until we were home to tell me about this and asked if this was a hill that we were willing to die on. I was shocked. He loved the name when I brought it up. He said his mum is right and it's 2 letters off from being the exact word. 2 letters off from being the exact word. Oh, okay. I get it in a way, but it doesn't sound like that word. It's got a completely different sound to it, doesn't it? Only it's not the word. He slept on the couch. I hoped over the last few weeks that she would get over it along with him. He eventually conceded it was a dumb request and stood his ground to his mum. She came over the next day while he was at work and told me either I change it or she'd tell my husband our baby isn't his. What the fuck? This is escalating very rapidly. That is wild. I ended up crying and she left, but I texted my husband and her in a group chat after and told them that there's no way in hell I'm renaming my 3-week baby. I told my husband what she said. Of course, she denied it. It started another fight with my husband, and he hasn't slept in the bed for a week now. He keeps telling me that I'm being overly sensitive over a name, and that I'd never even knew my mum, so it doesn't matter. Wow, that is cold. That is callous. That's not fair. It doesn't matter. There is a connection when it comes to things like that you will have to your parent, no matter how long they've been gone for. So, am I the butthole for refusing to rename my baby because my mother-in-law thinks it sounds like a slur? Is it? Is it worth fighting for a name when I can just pick another because she's not even that old? I feel backed into a corner and starting to feel like my husband is right and to give in to his mum. He keeps telling me that he thinks the name is wonderful and beautiful, but not worth the drama. Maybe this is how mums are? No, this is not how mums are. I mean, being the complexion of a Kleenex tissue, I can't say how anybody who is of African American descent should feel about that name. To me, I don't see that there is really any connection between the two words. It just doesn't sound the same when you hear it. But again, who am I to say what anyone who is African American should feel about that name, and what it may or may not sound like? All I could say is, to me, it doesn't sound the same, And either way, whatever you think about whether it sounds the same or not, the tactics being used to try and get the OP to change the name is the problem I have. So saying, I'm going to tell your husband that the baby's not his, you have to change the name, you don't get a choice, and kicking off and making this big thing about it, she's gone about it the wrong way. I bet if she'd have gone to the OP and been like, I hate to point this out, but I feel like that name sounds really close to this word. Can we have a conversation about it? I'm pretty certain the OP would still say no because it's a name chosen to reflect her own mother who is gone. You could have respect for it then. You could say, yeah, I completely see why she would want to have that respectful conversation. They've talked about it and they've sorted it out, whatever. So, edit 1. It felt strange to me to name my baby Nessa because I did not know my mother. I wanted to honour her still. Nissa was a name that they considered for me before meeting me and making their decision. I chose it because I thought it was beautiful and a great way to honour her. Edit 2, since so many people asked, and I don't want anyone to be confused, I guess. Mum was Jewish. I've seen a lot of Jewish hate and was nervous about publicising that. Her family converted to Judaism at some point. Maybe, possibly, according to my father. And eventually she became a Christian because that's what my father was when they married. Also, thank you everyone who makes respectful comments. Thank you to the people who respectfully told me a different perspective. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of love I've received. I finally had enough, and my husband slept in the bed last night. He told me he really liked the name, but his mum wasn't going to let it go. So I decided to have his mum and co over for dinner tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Edit posted an update, and we will get to that update, but I'm very curious to see what people in the comments say. Just because obviously I'm very aware that, there are going to be different perspectives from this depending on cultural background. So, 4-Leaf Clover O says, that's a very common Middle Eastern name and South Asian name. I know 3 people myself who have had that name. Not the Porthole. Yeah, I've known a good handful of people with that name. I remember there was a girl in my first school who had that name, actually. I think her family were Indian. If I remember rightly, I'm sure I remember her telling me her family were Indian. Like, bear in mind, this is many, 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 many moons ago. So I might be remembering wrong. But yeah, she had that name, and then I worked with somebody who had that name. So yeah, it seems like a common enough name. So, Faycat says, tell them it's culturally disrespectful of them to deny the name from your culture. Make it go both ways, not the porthole. So then we have the update. A lot happened at dinner and I've been feeling really down since then. I've waited to see if there'd be anything else to update you guys on as well, but so far it's been quiet, at least for the past week. So I did invite my mother-in-law and father-in-law over for dinner. It did not go well. It was tense from the start. I tried to calmly explain why I chose my daughter's name and what it means to me. I also asked her directly why she felt so strongly about it and tried to understand where she was coming from, but she didn't really give me a clear answer. She kept spouting something about how I'd made her son into a bad father. I don't know where this came from, and doubling down on some of the other stuff that she had already said. She even questioned my daughter's paternity again. Oh, we're back on that one. Oh, God. I've noticed from my visits in the Just No Mother-in-Law subreddit that is a common tactic that mother-in-laws like to use when they're not getting their own way. Don't like that. At first, my husband was kind of agreeing with her, or at least not really pushing back. See, this is the bit that's pissing me off about the husband. He's playing both sides here. He's telling his mum, no, you are maybe right, but then he's going to his wife and going, no, I really love the name and I really love it, and, she should be able to have it, but, oh, maybe we should just do what mum wants. Like, I don't like that. Stop playing both sides. Decide where you're at with it, and stop basically being a little shit stirrer. Which made things worse, I imagine it did. But then she said something really derogatory towards me, plus the bad parenting thing and paternity issue, and that's when things changed. My husband finally stepped in and told her that she was out of line. Oh, finally? Is that a spine I see growing there on your husband? After that, we asked them to leave early. They refused, and it turned into a huge fight. It escalated to the point where we had to call the cops. My life. It somehow got even worse from there. She started yelling at the officers about how they should be dealing with me for terrorism. Oh, wow. And she even assaulted one of them. So she's so bothered about the name apparently being racially insensitive, and then she makes a jibe about terrorism towards a woman with Middle Eastern background. My goodness, the blatant hypocrisy, that is wild. They ended up taking her in, which led to a fight between me and John about how she wasn't going to take up any of her threats, even though he was the one who told me to call the cops, and he left. My father-in-law returned the next morning and offered to watch Nissa for me while I went and talked to John. He'd been nothing but neutral the entire time and had been helping me the night before to get mother-in-law out. We ended up sitting down and talking, and he said he was going to divorce mother-in-law because she'd always been racially insensitive to his experiences and downright crazy to his adult children. And now there was no denying her ugliness with my situation. And he wished for me to tell John to suck it and divorce him too, or at least tell him to grow the hell up and smell the fresh air. He would never grow up with my mother-in-law as involved as she was. Y'all, my father-in-law told me until he and mother-in-law married, my husband slept in her bed. He was literally 29. No! What? Okay, so that makes sense why he'd never really had a proper relationship before hitting the age of 40. Not that there's anything wrong, by the way, of being a late bloomer in relationships, but I think this was the reason. Oh my God. He told me a lot more disturbing things that I don't want to repeat. I wish you would though, OP. I really want to know. I'm so nosy. I want to know. I ended up telling father-in-law I wasn't prepared to talk to my husband. He had said a lot of ugly things the night before, and I asked father-in-law to tell John that he could pick up some clothes, but he'd have to stay with them or find a motel. The last I heard, father-in-law went to stay at a motel. Mother-in-law was bailed out by John, and John and mother-in-law have been staying at their house. I've never felt so alone. The only thing I'm sure about is my baby girl's name, Nissa Rose, and probably my last name. Edit, for those who didn't read my first post, yes, father-in-law is my husband's stepdad. Okay, so let's have a look at the comments on this one then. So down in the comments, Badger No 4726 says, father-in-law is a real one. I hope you're able to keep him in yours and Nissa's lives. But run! Sleeping in mummy's bed until you're 29? Nope. Take your father-in-law's advice and take your kid and run. And then Max Harry Willie says, when a parent tells you to leave their child because you're too good for them, believe them and go. Yeah, honestly, and you know what? Keep in contact with father-in-law. He sounds like a good guy. Like, he sounds decent. He sounds like one of the only ones with his head screwed on in this. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today for the sake of everyone's sanity, to be honest. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome! Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave a good night comment to Big Al. He's having an early night tonight. He's tired. Bye!